What's going on? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about the UFC 302 main event coming up next weekend, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier, and break down that fight prior to it starting. Okay, so Islam Makhachev is versing Dustin Poirier on June 1st in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center, and this fight is going to be truly an amazing fight. You look at Dustin Poirier, every single fight he has been in is not a boring fight. If Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway wasn't a fight this year, I truly think that Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier could have won Fight of the Year. That fight was so good, so much action from the 2 rounds that was in it, or the 1.5 rounds that in it before Dustin knocked out Benoit. Fight was truly amazing, and Dustin looked like vintage Dustin Poirier in that fight, but now he's versing an absolute monster in Islam Makhachev, who I think is going to have a very easy time with Dustin Poirier. Now, I understand that Poirier is an amazing striker. He's got all the tools and all the facets to be able to deal with someone like Islam, but I think that the IQ of jumping on the guillotine is going to truly hurt him. You look at his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam's best friend, when he jumped guillotine prior to getting choked out and finished in that fight, was truly one of the lowest IQ moves that Dustin Poirier could have done. And to be able to do this, for him to have a chance, he is going to need to stand on the feet and strike with Islam Makhachev and use that pocket boxing that he is probably top 3 in the UFC with, looking at someone like Ilia Topuria, who's also up there, and really he might be 2 or 1 just with Ilia Topuria. Now, this fight is going to be massive in Newark, and Dustin Poirier has something to be able to do. He's going to, like I said, he's going to have to be using that pocket boxing. He's going to be having to slip and make sure he avoids all the takedowns. Now, the takedown threat of Islam Makhachev is going to make this fight super hard for Dustin Poirier. Islam, if he gets to this fight to the ground, it's over. Dustin doesn't have the greatest grappling background compared to someone like Charles Oliveira, who could hold his own on the ground with Islam Makhachev, and you look how that fight went. It only took 2 rounds for him to get out, to get Charles Oliveira out of that fight. And Volkanovski has no neck, so really Islam wasn't able to get in a submission on Volkanovski, but he was able to control him in that first fight prior to knocking him out in the second fight of October of last year. Now, Islam isn't a lot better of a striker than people think. Khabib, his longtime friend, was a lot more reckless than Islam is, and I think that this is going to be something that Dustin is going to get incredibly frustrated with. Islam's ability to gauge strikes, and you look at the Volkanovski knockout that he was pounding kicks to the body over and over and over again, to where he finally went up high. Volkanovski dropped his hands, and Volkanovski took a shin right across the temple, which ended up knocking him out. Ultimately, Islam is super calculated in every single strategy he uses for the fight, and he is going to know properly of how to weave in those takedown attempts to be able to get Dustin off balance and not knowing what he's going to be doing next, which is going to keep Dustin guessing. It's going to make Dustin flinch. It's going to make him lower his arms. It's going to make him lower his hands, and I don't think Dustin Poirier has the same set of skills to do that to Islam Makhachev that Islam can to Dustin. Now, Dustin, being the striker that he is and does having that grappling jiu-jitsu background, is going to help him somewhat on the ground, but that sambo background of Islam Makhachev to control Dustin Poirier is going to be key in this fight. Now, ultimately, I have Islam Makhachev winning this fight pretty easily, and I would bet on him going into this fight. I know the odds are super stacked against Dustin Poirier and are really in favor of Islam Makhachev on the ESPN website. The odds are minus 470 to Islam, plus 360 to Dustin Poirier. But I do think Islam Makhachev is the rightful pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the entire world, and I really think that that is going to be on display this time versus Dustin Poirier. Now, I know Islam is trying to turn around versus Arman Tsarukyan, probably at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if that's going to be the main event, co-main event, because I know John Jones is targeting to fight Stipe Miocic on that card, but Islam wants to headline Madison Square Garden, and that is going to give him the extra motivation to go out there and to dispose of Dustin Poirier in a quick, orderly fashion. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this fight breakdown between Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier, headlining UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. This fight is going to be a must-watch fight if you have the ability to do so. Please buy your pay-per-views, be able to do that, because this fight is going to be one for the ages. Now, me having the prediction that Dustin Poirier isn't going to win this fight doesn't mean he can't. There's been crazier things that happen in this sport, but I just ultimately think that Islam is the greatest fighter on planet Earth currently. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'm trying to respond to as many comments as possible now. If you have a comment, please let me know and I will see it. Have a great rest of your day, and please keep influencing the channel.